In this section, we are going to look into some of the features and properties of variables that will be helpful for you when you are designing your automation framework. First, let's make this simple. I will delete one test case. I will delete all these variables. Let me rename it to be simple user1 Gandhi, user2 Nehru. So let's change all these. User1. Okay, now it is simple. First, what is the scope of the variable? We are defining variables inside the variable section. Where and all this variable can be referred. The scope of the variables that are defined in variable section is global. That is global to the test suite. This first.robot is called test suite, which will have multiple test cases. So whatever variables you define within this variable section, it can be used by any keywords or any test cases that is within this test suite. If you want to create a variable only to be used in one test case, that is local to the test case, how to create it? It is simple. First, indentation. Create a variable here. User3. Okay, now let's give directly a value for it. Let's see what happens. Now you can see there is a red line, error. That is keyword definition not found. So you can't define same how you are defining within the variable section. The format to define a variable local to your test case is variable name, then provide set variable. There is a keyword for it called set variable. This will set this variable with this value. Now you can use it here, user3. But if you try to refer this variable in a different test case, then it will throw an error. See, user3, it is throwing an error. Even if you run the test case, it will throw the same error. You can see one is failed because the user3 is not found. This test case doesn't know the user3, which is local only to the first test case. The scope of the variables defined within the variable section is global to the test suite. The scope of the variables that is defined within a test case is only to the test case. Now, if you want to change the value of a variable that is defined as global, somewhere in the middle, if you want to change the value, then you can change it within the test case. There are two types of changing this value. One is changing it altogether, that is changing the global value so that in the next test cases, wherever it is referred, the changed value will reflect. How to do that? There is a keyword for that as well, that is set global variable. But the format is you have to give the keyword first, set. You can see the PyCharm is auto populating set global variable. So what we are doing is we are setting a global variable where user3, I have to make it user1. We are changing this user1 value to Einstein. So now let's see here, user1. If I run this test case, all are passed. Refresh the screen. If you see in the first test case, we are setting the global variable user1. So we are changing the value globally to Einstein. So it's reflecting in test case 1. If you go to the test case 2, there also it will reflect Einstein only because globally the variable is changed. There is one more keyword that is changing it only local. Set local variable. Let's change the user to. Now we are changing the user to Tesla. Let me log that as well. Now let's run this. Let's see the difference. We are changing user1 as globally. So whatever value it is reflecting here, it will reflect in other test cases as well. See, here also it is changed. But user2 we are changing locally. So it will be changed only in the first test case. But if you go to the third test case where we are referring the user2 value, it will be the global value, Nehru. Whatever we define globally, that will stay. Because we are changing the variable only within that test case. Okay, this is about the scope of the variables. Now you might get some doubt. What is this set global variable, set local variable, set variable. What are these things? These things are nothing but the keywords. We are going to look detail about what is a keyword, how to define a keyword, how to use a keyword, everything. Just I will show you what these keywords are. These are called built-in keywords. So these are automatically provided by the Robot Framework. Robot Framework provides some built-in keywords that we can use for some specific purposes. Where you can find these keywords? Go to the Robot Framework built-in keyword documentation. You can see there are multiple built-in keywords that are provided by the Robot Framework. These keywords you can use anywhere in a robot file. No need to import any libraries to use these keywords. You can see set global variable, set local variable are there. If you just click on it, it will show the documentation how to use this set global variable, provide the name of the variable and value. So that's what we are doing, is set global variable, name of the variable and value. Still you don't understand? No issues. We will look about detailedly about the keywords in the coming sections. One more powerful feature you will need while designing a framework is changing the variable values from the command line. So when you want to run it through a Jenkins or any other CI/CD pipeline, you might need to send some variable specific to particular environment or particular test run. Then how to do that? It is simple. Let me open the terminal. The syntax to run a robot file is, we already know, robot, the file name, first.robot. Now if you want to send a variable, then you have to provide -v, the variable name, user1. You can see here I am not using any $curly braces. When you are sending through command line, you don't have to use them. Just provide the variable name, variable value that you want to send, space. So you need to send a command line argument. Then you have to provide -v, that is for the variable. You have to provide the variable name without any curly braces or the $sign. And you have to provide the value. Now let me comment these two things. Let's see what is happening. We are defining the variable here also, and I am sending through the command line also, which will override, which is more priority. Let's run and see. I will just run this one. I will just add the D as well. That is, I want to store the results inside a specific folder. Just run it. Okay, all the test cases are passed. Let's open the log.html. If you go and see user1, you can see Raman. That is the command line argument which we are sending. That is override the value that you have provided within the script. So when you want to change a variable, you can send it through the command line as well. So that will take more priority and it will change. But if you are using the set global variable or set local variable, then again the value will be changed, because the command line variable will first come into the script, but in between whenever you change the variable value, then that will take effect. So in this case, Einstein will be printed because we are sending the variable value as Raman, but in between we are changing the value. Let me show that also. If we run this, see, Einstein is printed because once we enter the test case, we are changing the value again. So Einstein will be printed. There is one more way you can define this variable. Instead of using v, you can also use 2 hyphens variable. Both are same. -v is simple, so you can use -v itself. Just if you are looking in some code and if you find a 2 hyphen variable, you don't have to get confused. Both are same, either -v or 2 hyphens and variable.